Listen, I have emailed again.
It just some things.
I haven't gotten a single
Let's just email.
Oh, we got the iPads.
Like I said, I didn't order some.
What? Picking the nose or anything like that, huh? So that flips all that stuff. Was there an accident at 36 and 41 when you came through? I saw it on Paul's Twitter.
ATV accidents.
Oh, really?
I mean, I ordered before spring break. I saw it there.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago.
Okay, we'll call this meeting to order. Thank you all for coming. Reminder, please sign in if you've come anyway. We'd like for you to sign in, especially if you wish to speak. So the way it works, if you wish to speak about something that is on the agenda, if you signed up, you can speak at that time when we discuss it on the agenda. If you wish to speak about something that is not on the agenda, there is a general comments at the end where we will let you speak. So again, thank you all for coming. With that, Dr. Shemp, are there any revisions or corrections to the agenda this evening?
Yeah, so I would like to move item 7 personnel, there's additional personnel. I wanna bump that to the miscellaneous section so that can all be dealt with at the same time, because there are a number of personnel items that would be not the norm of just a new hire or change over to a different position or updated pay, so I wanna move that to miscellaneous just to group it. Other than that, there are a couple there's a fundraiser and a resignation and retirement that I'll mention in miscellaneous.
Okay. With that, we will move on to the minutes from the March 11th, the regular session meeting. Are there any corrections, comments on those minutes? If there are none, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Zach has made the motion. Seconded by Mark. All those in favor? 7-0 vote. Okay, we'll move on to the March 12th executive session and the April 1st work session. We've had a chance to review those minutes. Are there any comments or questions on those? If there are none, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Kim has made the motion.
Second.
Gina has seconded. All those in favor? 7-0. Okay. Financial business, start out with payroll and claims. Dr. Shem.
Yes, starting on page 8 through 44, you got your payroll and claims listed there. Things to point out on the totals that you have on your summary sheet. This last meeting, there were 3 payrolls that occurred. Last year, there were only 2 at this time, so you go comparing things, they aren't gonna line up very well. We also have more claims due to the RES project, so we're gonna be spending that money that's coming in, so that's gonna look off from what the norm is. Outside of those items, I don't know that there's a whole lot to point out, but those were significant numbers, I wanted to make sure that you were able to address those. Utility costs, we're still coming to grips with the amount that happened back a month or so ago when we spent most of our year's allotment or budget in 1 month. I have spoken with some gas carrier companies and trying to work out a deal where we can get some fixed pricing on that so that we don't have to ideally deal with such a bump again in the future. We would get locked in at a rate for 1, 2, or 3 years is my understanding. I've talked to a couple of other superintendents who do that. It might behoove us to go that way so we don't get a surprise in the future. be something else worth pointing out here as you're looking through the financials. Are there any questions specific to the financials?
Questions, comments, concerns? Do we have a motion to approve those financial reports?
So.
Zach has made the motion.
Second.
Seconded by Mark. All those in favor? 7-0. Okay, we have a whole host of donations. Mr. Clapp, will you please read those?
We do. The Turkey Run Alumni Association, $100. Bradley's Landscaping Services, $770. Bloomingdale Friends Church, $1,000. Community Foundation Way to Go Grant, $250. Beta Phi Chapter ESA Rockville, $200. Anonymous, $200. Randall and Tammy Peters, $200. Gary and Susan Smith, $200. Roger Smith, $200. Michael and Nicole Jeffries, $400. Turkey Run Alumni Association, $100. Brian and Lisa Porter Laser Wash, $500. Park County REMC, $100. Fountain Trust, $100. Williams Rentals, $100. Park Vision Care, $50. Roads of Smiles Family Dentistry, $100. Kathy Preston Insurance Agency, $100. Gooch Funeral Homes, $100. Ferguson Chiropractic Center, $100. Bloomingdale Home Telephone, $100. Anonymous, $480. Ali Electrical, Jason Ali, $100. Anonymous, $70. Mount Hermon Bible Church, $40. AC Grain, $500. Rocks Alumni, $100. Zane and Kelly Davies, $2,063.86. Revolution Materials, $200. Wallace Law Firm, $1,000. Community Foundation, Way to Go Grant, $500. Scott Pet Products, $100. Overpeck Gas Company, $100. McVeigh Family Chiropractic, $100. Park County Community Foundation, $8,247.96. Community Foundation Peggy L. Sankey Swain Fund, $46,849.75. Lisa Leonard, $50. Charles and Penny Goggin, $50. Cedar Ridge Home Solutions, $100. BCR Roofing, $200. Sun Dumpsters, $200. Sandusky Repair, $100. Baird Sawmill, $100. Wheeler Realty, $100. American Legion Felons are 48, $100. Susie and Daniel Martin, $1,000, for a total of $67,421.57.
Thank you, Zach. That's an excellent donation month there. I would appreciate everybody that did that. Want to clap a little bit? We can clap. Thank you to everybody who donated to all those things.
That Sankey Fund, the Sankey Swain that's an annual, right? That's gonna be an annual into perpetuity. So you take that, and then we also, with the foundation covering some of the Ivy Tech dual credit communications classes, even if you take those two out, which are large donations, you're still over $13,000. So I mean, yeah, what great support,
Excellent community support. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is that Elise that made the motion? Nick with the second. All those in favor? 7-0. Okay, senior class field trip.
senior class would like to take a field trip to Kings Island. It's out of state, so I'm bringing that to you for your approval. Mrs. Studebaker, Harpold, McDaniel, Miller, and Mr. Patton will chaperone pending your approval.
I think it's really good.
Board members aren't invited then, I guess,
I think they would probably take it.
as a chaperone. If there are no questions and comments, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Kim has made the motion.
Second.
Gina with the second. All those in favor? 7-0. Okay, there is no old business this evening. Requests and communications. Dr. Shemp, you got something?
I wanted to follow up from the work session a little bit, and I thought this would be the right place to do that. So kind of read off of here a little bit, but in the minutes of the April 1 work session, I'd shared results of a teacher survey. It was pretty clear there was a strong staff opinion as far as what a realignment might look like for the school corporation. And that was a piece of information, right? A really vital piece of information, because if the teachers said, that's a horrible idea, we wouldn't want to explore it any longer, I feel like. That's not what they said. There were 83% had said, yes, we should make a change to separating out grade levels. 64% said we should do it next year. There was discussion in the meeting, conversation about some of the hinge points like transportation, some logistical concerns that cannot be worked out fast enough to do it for next year, in my opinion. I don't see that as a possibility. There's also a really critical piece in that we've got input from our board, the board has input, the teachers have input, and we're still lacking a community input piece. And to just send down a survey without making it an informed survey, I think would be wrong. And so the only way to get to that point, if there's ever a shift down the line, would be to reach out to the community, present information, and then get the survey results back from the community. So what I'm saying is ultimately, in my opinion, at this point, I can't see realigning for next school year. I want to get that off of the table from my perspective as far as recommendations are concerned. If for some reason the community was beating down the doors and saying, you guys need to do this right now, that's a different conversation, I think, with the board. But any input on that statement so far, board members, when it comes to hold tight, do this right if you're gonna do it, be methodical? Any thoughts?
Just like I said before, I think until we figure out the transportation, I don't think we can really be doing anything else. So we need to get that component in place, would be my opinion. So I agree.
Thank you.
I think it's a wise move to give it a little time to get things exactly right.
Even if it's the greatest idea in the world, if you charge ahead and don't have anybody following, that's not gonna work out very well. And so we wanna make sure that we're on the same page when it comes to, these big decisions. It's good to be on the same page, and we wanna get input. And I appreciate the input we've received so far. Thank you, teachers, those of you that are here, administrators, but we need more community input before I feel like we can charge forward with it. So hopefully we can understand that. Other than that's just really, I wanted to share that. It was a follow-up.
Any other comments about that? All right. We will move on then to new business. Personnel, we have some resignations to start off with.
Yeah, Ed Cooch, auto tech teacher, Park Heights High School, April 3rd, 2026. He resigned as of that time. Jason Glidewell, temporary custodian at the middle school, April 2nd. Mackenzie Newnham, teacher at Rockville Elementary, that'll be into school year, May 22nd. We've got a transfer in Cheryl McDaniel, director of counseling will go to director of counseling at the high school from her counseling position. That position's not in the bargaining unit. She will be, her salary is $66,000 plus 15 days, which is the 15 days is what the prior holder of that position had. Kayla Hale, transfer from Rockville Elementary to Park Heritage High School counselor. She's still on the teacher scale, $46,000. She has 15 days added onto her contract as well. Both of those high school positions had that previously. Termination, Augustina Scriber, if I can talk, custodian at middle school, March 20th. 2026. Then we've got new hires of Jamie Wills, Auto Tech Instructional Assistant, April 6, 2026. That's at $14.05 an hour. Stephanie Graves, custodian, Turkey Run Elementary, 8 hours, April 8th, 2026. Linda Johnson, custodian at Park Heritage Middle School, 8 hours, April 13th. There's a leave for Christina Beverly, 3/23 to 4/14. Some ECAs, Brianne Bridge and Renee Uplinger for the middle school spring athletic supervision. And then under 26-27 school year, additional ECAs, the first two names should be crossed off of your list, not just the first one. I think they changed their mind, something else came up, so those two names should come off. But Colin Stone, middle school football head coach, Scott Tidwell, middle school football assistant coach, Jake Davies, middle school assistant football coach, Noble Johnson, middle school football volunteer, Roy Reitzman, middle school football volunteer, Jared Martin, middle school football volunteer, Jeff Kessinger, middle school football volunteer. And finally, Rick Akers, special ed transportation route. It's a $30 a day home to and from the middle school, special ed routes that pop up periodically throughout the course of the year. Questions on any of those or?
Just a question in general. I know we haven't posted, do we think we're gonna have the volleyball recommendation at the next meeting? Or before summertime anyway?
I don't know of a volleyball recommendation yet.
Yeah, I just mean high school, cause
Right.
I just hoping before summertime we had one.
Yeah, I hope so, but I haven't got.
I believe there's a high school and middle school in both.
Yeah,
That's why I was like.
just a lot of people asking is why I was asking.
You know, you guys have, if you have some good names.
I don't know who applied or anything, it's just,
But no, I unfortunately don't have any input on volleyball yet.
Other questions or comments on that list of personnel items? If there are none, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Gina has made the motion.
Second.
Elise with the second. All those in favor? 7-0 vote. Okay, we'll move on to the summer food program.
Yeah, I'm recommending that the board approve participation in the summer food service program from June 1st to July 27th, 2026. Distribute 5 lunches, 5 breakfasts out of the high school, 1 day per week. It's looking like it's gonna be Monday right now. To families for any child age 18 or younger. This will be a drive-through style pickup. The intent's obviously help with food security, right, or insecurity. There was a survey that was sent out. We had to send a survey. We had 51 responses. I'm sure there are others who would have responded even in the office earlier today. Somebody said they would have liked to have responded to that and maybe got it in there before it was printed. But 51 responses is not bad, but 119 children total would benefit from this. So to find a way to make that happen, and ideally you'd approve that, we'd be able to have more opportunity to feed kids throughout the summer.
Is that time going to be convenient for working parents if those are working?
So one of the questions was what day would be the best day and then what time of day. So time of day, 57.8% said 10:30 to 12. Which is, so, I mean, we're trying to work with what's gonna work best for them. And I kind of wanted to work around the Thursday pantry up here. I thought it'd be better to not do Thursday. Chartwell's obviously runs this piece of it still, but we get the reimbursement on the meals.
Are we gonna have to staff then?
They'll staff it, yep,
Okay.
they'll staff it. I mean, it filters through them, but it.
Other questions, comments?
At the high school is where we're gonna distribute. Sorry. Right, that's a different day of the week, yeah. I'm not sure what day they do it down there. Wednesday, perfect.
All right, other questions? If not, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Kim has made the motion,
second.
Mark with the second, all those in favor? 7-0 vote. Okay, we'll move on to miscellaneous business. Start off with a fundraiser, Dr. Schimpf.
Yeah, the Park Heritage Cheer would like to sell fan shirts from April 7th until April 29th. They're hoping to raise $1,000. It's already moving.
Right, if there are no
I'd like your approval for the rest
rest
of this
of it.
fundraiser.
If there are no questions, do we have a motion to approve this fundraiser?
So moved.
Zach has made the motion,
Second.
Nick with the second. All those in favor? 7-0. Okay, a few personnel line items, Dr. Schimpf.
Okay, so we've got a retirement coming from Lori Brown, who's been media specialist for a number of years here and served in a number of different roles. Lori's last date is listed as May 31st, 2026. Resignation from Linda Johnson, custodian at Park Heritage Middle School, 8 hours, April 13th, 2026. We have new hire in Cheyenne Staley, preschool aide. We needed a couple hours of help with the preschool and transferring on getting times just before buses. That's 2 hours per day at 14:55. April 13th is the start date. And then I also listed Mona Norman is stepping in to drive for Jeff Kerr. And even though he's a contractor, I wanted to list that for you just so you had an idea of who was stepping into that bus. That he'd had a different driver who had stopped working for him, and as a contractor, he's brought in Mona, and so happy to have her kind of back in the fold from being out a little bit.
I think this was the first year she didn't drive, right?
All right, are there questions or comments? Do we have a motion?
So moved. Oh, go ahead. Please made the motion. Gina can second it.
Lise has made the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Gina with the second. All those in favor? 7-0. Okay, let's move on down to some other personnel items, starting with the Park Heritage Connect Academy.
Yeah, I'm recommending that the board approves Kristen Bonomo as the administrator for the PH Connect Academy, which we discussed at the last meeting. Mrs. Bonomo has been a teacher administrator at corporation for a number of years, has done a great job handling many tasks involved with being a building principal. She was not able to be here tonight. She said kids track meet. But Mrs. Bonomo had inquired about the position some time back, and knowing that she deals with our title grants, and that's roughly $500,000 that comes into the corporation each year, and she helps to manage that. She can continue with that role while trying to get this aspect of the Connect Virtual Academy off the ground. We realize there's a lot yet to figure out there, but that was part of the discussion last time as well. The pay for the position will be $75,000 for a 208-day contract that would begin July 1st, 2026, pending your approval. And then if that occurs, then I'll need to be able to open up for a Rockville elementary principal position.
It's just because this is one thing we didn't discuss the last couple of times. On the Connect Academy, will that just be August through May school schedule?
Yeah, that's currently what.
And we're planning on opening that up in August of 2026.
Yes,
What's our goal? How many students
as far as how many students.
and what grades?
Well, we want to go K to 12. And so we've got a group that I've said before we were working with that does a 7 to 12. We've had a couple different types of that. But when it comes to number of students, if we had 10 students, it's $8,000 per student to start. The other offshoot that's going to happen is, as I think it's possible, we're getting to the point where a lot of people may really like this opportunity. There is flexibility that we can build in that we don't get to build into the traditional school. And if it takes off, we're going to need to be able to hire teachers as well. So I'm going to need I'm going to want the board to have some expectation that I may have to recommend a teacher or a part-time teacher to be coming on board, but we have to get the main cogs in piece, I guess, if you would. So we'll start off at 10. I'd like to increase that by the February count date, because obviously count dates are important, and 10's a low number.
Will registration be the same timeline as open?
So we're trying to determine how we can open registration earlier than normal. Part of the problem we run into is Harmony, which is our SIS, it's our data system. It does what's called a rollover in July. When it rolls over, it kind of wipes all the information and then pulls in new. If we enroll new students before that happens, it just wipes them all out. We kind of have to start over. So we're trying to determine a way to get that information earlier. And so, yeah, the point is we want to have earlier enrollment than the norm. The other beauty of that is it helps us with things like transportation. One of the many other beauties of that. It helps teachers with having an idea who might be in their classrooms. I mean, it just, we need the information sooner. So,
You mentioned 8,000, so if a student is in the Connect Academy, we get that full amount? That's the full amount?
as long as we have a hybrid setup, which is what the plan would be, so you would have to have some in person. You're gonna have to have some in person parts to that. Now, if that's a day a week, those are the points that we'll have to determine next, where I'll have to bring into the board a handbook that's gonna break down information. You will be able to say, yes, we're good with this, or no, you're not, or but yeah, $8,000 is the ADM amount, so per student, it's roughly 8,000.
Where do you plan on housing those students if they're 7 or if they're K through 12?
That's what we're working out, yeah. Whether or not they need to have a designated space, or is it that they're coming in for Fine Arts Day, or they're coming in for STEM Day, or we want to integrate them into the population still, because I think that's the major piece that kids who go online miss out. They don't get the socialization, and we can build some of that in if we do it right. It's a lot to get off the ground. But I'm confident we can do it. And if you look around the state, schools left and right are coming up with virtual options. We have to be able to compete.
So then on the Play-Doh that's at the high school, the online,
Yes, yep.
yeah. Is Brooke right? She's still teaching that, correct?
Yes,
So-
that's the plan right now. yeah.
Okay.
So
So is she gonna still stay in her same role or start working with Kristen Bonomo, or what's the plan? Do we have a
That's-
plan or haven't gotten there, or?
that's what we're gonna have to work out once
Okay.
we get her in place. She's been using Edmentum, the Play-Doh that we've had for a period of time. The thought is that is likely going to be the alternative school option, because you can have your alternative school that isn't necessarily your virtual component. They are both virtual, but
I understand, yeah,
separate.
I understand, yeah, definitely. Okay,
With that piece, if we're using that for alternative, so right now Brooke Wright is that person, at the high school, at the middle school, that's currently Lisa Reisman, so I'm just verifying that is going still to this new online person. For alternative, like if you're kicked out.
right.
Still,
That's a question, isn't
It's a
it?
question.
It's a question, isn't it?
Did you hear her first part?
Is it a question?
It was a question,
Yeah, I
yes.
thought so.
I'm just verifying, in previous conversations, we talked about if they're kicked out, then it would go to the online directors and not.
that's what we've talked about, but we've not put in writing for everybody yet, but yeah.
I'm just asking. Just asking if that was.
I also know,
I don't want Lisa Reitzman to be doing it next year if at all possible. Is that fair?
If at all possible, still a little questionable.
That kind of lends into my question, I guess. So, do we have people that are putting this together now? And if there are we transferring the obligation to put it together to Ms. Bonomo then? Or is it staying with the people that are currently working on putting this together? Because if we're paying her that salary, I would think she would head up putting it together at that point,
But right
I
now
guess is my
she's,
question.
yeah, the point is to have a head who can be the one in charge and run with it.
So this would put her in charge of making sure this gets off the ground and the schematics of it and everything then.
And We don't expect her to do it alone though.
Well, no, I
Vacuum, so.
but put her as a figurehead to, that's why just being clear, cause like, we don't have it put together now, and we don't wanna put somebody in to run it when we don't have it put together, I guess would be my thought process, if that makes sense.
It's a cart and a horse sort of deal.
And the plan is still to use our teachers currently and like I think they said videotape their classes or
We
presentations
don't
somehow.
have all of that determined yet. We do not have that determined, but until we have some people devoted to it, there is not capacity to figure this out without somebody in place. So it'd be a real challenge to get it done.
Currently, what's her timeline after May, what's her obligation as principal
So
to this?
yeah, she technically has, I think it's 217 days, maybe it's 218. It's 218 on her contract, same as Mrs. Benjamin. What
does
we
that
do
mean?
with those days, obviously, is there's flexibility in there. Obviously, you have to wrap up the responsibilities of being the Rockville principal. At the same time, this is happening now, so there's gonna be some dual role going on.
She's
until
already been in contact with other corporations to do these types of things regarding handbooks, like what do their hand, because she's gonna have to create a handbook. If we wanna go K to 12, we've already talked about with the subject piece, it hits 6 through 12, but our K to 5 kiddos, we're gonna have to build that, and we talked about, we've reached out to, some teachers about recording those OGU Fly Haggerty lessons, and we're gonna have to be creative with the elementary piece, but she's already working on that now. And contact, like I said, outside resources as far as starting some of that stuff. And with summer school being a turkey run this year, that's something I can take off of her plate so that she can focus more on this virtual piece of things, so.
Will she have an office somewhere?
She will.
Somewhere?
She will. And yes. She wants to be able, if we have teachers who are assigned to this, she wants to have a place where they can come in and they can meet and they can get together. And I don't mean I know you want clarity and answers on some things. Some of these things we're still working out, and I don't want to say, no, we're not gonna do something like with recordings, if that ends up being the best way to get kids' attention and have them engaged and for them to be educated. So I don't have all the answers yet. I know we need help in this role. And Kristen, I feel like, is a good option.
So I hate to admit, like I'm not afraid to admit, I'm pretty ignorant when it comes to the online Connect Academy. We spend a lot of time talking about other things, but if I'm hearing it correctly, there will be cameras in the classrooms and they'll watch like the second grade teacher from RES.
We haven't decided to do that. I'm leery of that. Very leery of having cameras in the classrooms because of what else is going on in the room with other students and safety, and I'm really leery of if we had a designated room that those students were the ones in the academy, that would be different. Not entirely. But I'm a little leery of having the cameras in each of those classrooms all day long.
So, and again, I don't know anything about it. So like, if I'm, it's been a while since I was in elementary school, but if I was in 4th grade learning history, I don't know if that's what they learn, but they'll be online watching somebody teach, like a program that we pay for or something like that.
One of our teachers.
And
Or one of our teachers is what I said, sorry. I don't know if you can hear me. So they would watch a teacher, there's interaction with counselors still, should still be interaction with obviously the principal, administrator. There's still touch points for the kid, so they're not just going and sitting on a device all day long would be the goal. But we've got some flexibilities, like when you do a synchronous learning day, their only requirement is 2.5 hours. Well, you look at some of the schools, because as we're pulling information, some schools say, well, that's all you have to do every day. I don't know that that's enough. And that's why we've got to get some stuff in print for the board to see and for you to say, yes, we do or don't like that idea. Because you're gonna make those decisions ultimately. But I don't foresee having cameras in all the classrooms.
I'm not a teacher, so I guess I wouldn't want a camera in my classroom, or I wouldn't wanna be in charge of setting it up and making sure it's on, and I presume that would fall to the teachers or IT, and we only have so many IT guys, or guys and gals, sure. I don't know if a survey was sent out to the teachers regarding this, I don't think there was, or at least I didn't see,
For which part?
haven't.
If they were interested or if there were cameras?
Haven't
I
gotten some
didn't do
advice
anything about
from-
cameras, no. 'Cause I don't think that's gonna be a recommendation.
The video of the teacher teaching the content be, that's the only person in the room,
Yes,
and I'm videotaping you teaching the content.
yes.
And it's like some like random person, I don't wanna say random, but it's some licensed teacher, not through Park Heritage.
Our teacher,
It can be our teacher.
our teacher,
So we're gonna expect teachers to do a whole nother lesson, I mean, I don't,
I know.
without more pay?
Not necessarily.
Oh, I know, we're at, nobody knows the answer, it's
I
like,
mean,
okay, I'm
look,
asking questions that I bet all these people wanna ask, and
I have some questions.
I know it's hard for them to ask in front of all
just
these
hold on a
people.
second. I mean, first of all, we are never gonna go to the level of planning while everybody has other jobs where we have every single answer for every program we're trying to roll out. This is the wave of the future. Everything is going more and more to virtual, right? If we don't start doing something like that, although I think it's the best possible education method, I don't. But there are parents that choose this method, right? So if we don't do it, then the kids are gonna go somewhere else, right? Our best way to keep our current school in the same stat is to keep our student count up, right? So this is what we are trying to do. We are trying to take a method, put some people who are good at their jobs and refine it here. We're not starting out with 500 kids. We're probably gonna start out with a handful and try to see how we're gonna make this work and perfect it over here these next few years. It's not gonna be perfect. And believe me, we're not gonna do anything that right off the bat that immediately enrages the teacher that's doing it, I don't think. We've already asked people's opinions about certain things. So I don't know exactly how it's gonna work. I don't think all those answers are out there yet. But I know that we need to get into this game and keep that funding so we can keep those programs that we already have. Because we don't wanna go in reverse with those programs. And there are more and more kids doing this. So we need to do what we can to try. So Brianne, go ahead.
Okay, no, I think you could probably do a shove against, none of us are against the virtual school. It's some of the pieces, if you started with the very big top, paying someone to be in charge of it. And there's all of these under here that sound like expectations of teachers to do things, counselors to do things. Will Kristen be responsible for going and next year's sophomores, if they don't earn 10 credits, our school corporation gets dinged? Which are we going to go find each of those sophomore kids that are virtual? They don't have to come in, so then we don't get $8,000. They could sign up and never step foot. So mine is, so when we start then, what about the SPED kids? You're gonna have to have somebody do SPED. I don't know enough about the high school plans. She said the same thing, I'm glad I'm retiring, because now we have two plans, we have the old plan and the new plan. So I just think you've put a lot of things on one person's plate that she'll figure it out, that I don't know necessarily that one person is capable of that. So then, if that's her job, and that's a new job, and I get that, where do all the other pieces come in? The SPED, you have to have a counselor for every online kid, whether they ever need one or not. The high school requirements, and like again, I'm not saying that we don't need that person. I think there are other options for how you do it, as opposed to just having a one person right now. For figuring out a lot of things.
What other options?
Some other options. I think that you could add on I don't know if you call it salary or stipend to a couple different people's positions, and they could do it. And have the knowledge and the pieces that go with it. I think it's a huge undertaking. Do I think absolutely we have to do it? We do. There will always be virtual kids. But then I think you could go into, so
if you're gonna open up X amount of seats, does that count all of our kids that are on virtual right now? Or those new enrollees, cause we put 2 kids on virtual this week. Do those add into, so like right now, all the virtual kids are in my grade book. I check on them, I do those things after Lisa grades their work. Is that a Kristen's job? I know there's a ton of questions, that's why I'm wondering why we're like, whoo, Kristen, you're in charge.
Second, that's a way more eloquent way of putting what I was trying to ask Dr. Schimpf. Thank you, Brittany.
Oh, thank you, I've never called them before.
But that, yeah, you summarized, like, there's a lot of moving parts and we're putting a figurehead in place at a large salary. A good figurehead, albeit, like, I think she's tremendous.
Right.
But
Agreed.
that's why I wanted to know, is the expectation run it, or is it figure out how to do it?
It's both to a degree,
Yeah.
right? We gotta figure out how to do it before we can run it, but we can't,
So they,
we can't do that
And
without
everybody else
personnel
has a
people.
job and is busy, right? So we have somebody that is
So
kinda
as
dedicated to
a next item, I believe, on the agenda was extending Beth Faust her days in the year. Beth will have to tie in curriculum too. That's a piece that, we haven't even mentioned really other than the pathway piece, the whole curriculum piece from K to 12. This
do we
is
have a
huge
number of
undertaking
kids, do you know what the number of kids is currently that's online,
that's online for us.
virtual,
I
whether
wanna
it's
say Bruce has
because,
like 112 different things going on with Brook Rife. I think there are 112 different.
so,
Now, are those like the online health only,
Both.
Those are
all day?
Yeah, that's
It's all the
both.
same.
Both,
That
okay.
covers both.
There's,
another option.
Yeah, both
And
the
are
credit
those-
recovery, those individual classes and online kids. That's 112, that's what that is, that's a combination of all of it at the high school.
and who teaches that currently? The Connect Academy?
Brook Rife has, but
Or-
it's the curriculum is through what they
Uh-huh.
provide with Ed Mental.
And are those K through 12?
Oh, that's only the
Only
high
the
school.
high school.
Could I answer about the high school, cause that's part of my concern. I don't think anybody knows how the high school currently runs, cause it just goes. Brook currently has 140 classes. Those might be 8 for some kid, it might be 2 for some kid, it might just be 1 for some kid. So they either go, if that's gonna have to still go on, 'cause I think there's a mix up between what's alt ed, that we've kind of used it along the way to encompass all of that. We use the high school program for credit recovery, so if the kid is failing biology and algebra, they go down to Brooks Room 2 hours a day, or maybe just 1 hour a day, and they're working on 2 classes. And they're trying to recover that credit, and they do a pretty good job of it, and to get them back on track to stay our regular student. So those students are bringing in $8,000. If they're virtual, they only get 80%, correct?
95.
Yeah, so any student who goes
If they're
totally
100%
virtual,
virtual,
not gonna get their full money.
but if they're hybrid, then you get 100%. And that's what we're trying to put the framework together so that we can get 100%. Just down the road will be happening.
Hybrid kids are already being taken care of.
But just down the road, there's gonna be another option that comes up. And we need to do more with our virtual so that we can compete. Because they're gonna be competing with our kids 7 to 12 virtual, and they're gonna be given different freedoms that we don't have as a public school. That's what we're trying to figure out. And there's a million things to figure out, absolutely,
If they're hybrid, they have to attend in our building, correct?
at some point, for some period of time, yes.
Is there a percentage or?
Yes, and that will all be in the handbook when we get all this clarified. We can't have all these answers, guys, it's not possible yet. We have to have an agreement that we can have such a thing before we can say, here's exactly what it is.
Okay, so I wanna say, I commend you and I appreciate what you did in taking in information to get the K-12 free 5 thing going. I think that was an awesome decision on all of your part to say we're not quite ready. But now I hear you saying we're gonna take on students in the fall, but we don't know whether they can get special ed services from our co-op. We don't know if they can,
If they can get special ed from who?
where are they gonna get their special ed services?
They would be a part of our corporation still, right?
Who's
If
responsible
a
for
student
the
moves in, if a student moves into the middle school tomorrow, who's gonna take care of them? you're gonna take care of them, you're gonna take care of them, any middle school teacher, Renee's gonna,
But
the
I think,
staff is gonna take care
correct me if
right?
I'm wrong, your question is, if that student moves in as an online student, who's going to take care of their E IEP?
That's why you have to have a touch point who can be in charge of it.
I didn't hear you.
You have to, why you have to have a person in charge who can be the one that they are the touch point with.
So that person is gonna be in charge of the IEP.
No, that person's not, just like the principal's not in charge of the IEP right now.
So she's the principal, not a teacher.
She's an administrator. Yes.
So,
Yes.
I mean, I really do
Too many questions to jump in yet. I totally agree we need to do this. I don't see how we can have this many questions and start kids.
we need to take step one before we can take step 500. All right, we're taking step one. We're not talking about having 200 kids here next year in this. We're talking about maybe hopefully having 10. All right. Everybody agrees we have to do this. This is step one. All right. After that, that step one is basically our job. The rest of the steps are going to be people who actually know what's going on in this job, right? I mean, the real educators' jobs, not me. Okay. So, I appreciate everybody's comments, and I think it's great. I think it's great everybody's interested in it, but we got to take step one before we have the answer to some of the others. So, with that, do we have a motion to approve?
I can recommend that we table this until we have some more answers and bring it back to the meeting in May unless somebody else has a motion.
I'll second Kim's recommendation unless someone else has a motion.
All those in favor to table it? 6. All those opposed? 1. Motion is tabled, so maybe we'll not be able to go for next year. Next item, testing coordinator.
Yeah, on the curriculum/testing coordinator, I had said this was my notes, right? Due to the extensive work that will need to occur in collaboration with Park Heritage Connect Academy, I'm recommending Beth Faust 26, 27 contract days be extended. Do you want to table that too, since it's hinging on that?
So her contract
Yep.
days that you're going to extend would come in June, right?
That would be after June 30th, July 1 forward. There's time to add
Oh, after
this.
July.
Since this is with the academy, I think we have no choice.
Not giving back her days that we took this year. Like she had less days this year, is that not giving it
Lisa,
back?
I don't think this is a place to have that kind of conversation on personnel
Thank you.
items. That's not the place. It's not.
Either a motion to approve or a motion to table it, please.
Make the motion to table.
Gina's made the motion to table,
Second.
second by Elise. All those in favor? 6, all those opposing? 1.
Can I
Okay,
throw something?
building administrators, let's go to there.
I got one, is there any way we can approve the Connect Academy without approving who's in charge, so we can get it in motion?
Who's gonna work on it?
I don't think so. The Connect Academy starts with person number 1.
Okay.
Building administrators.
So next on the list, I had an update for building administrators to update their contracts. Principal contracts are all running out June 30th, 2026. And I was gonna recommend, or am recommending, an update on those positions with the following salaries and compensation to be listed in your packet there on pages E to G. I'm recommending Bruce Patton as high school principal, $100,592. Amy Harpold, high school assistant principal, $84,649. Lisa Reitzman, middle school principal, $89,187. Jenny Benjamin, Turkey Run Elementary principal, $87,916, and that is for the next 2 years. That would go until June of 28. administrative contracts are 1 to 3 years, 2 is kind of the norm, so we've kind of stayed in that lane. Complete details can be found on pages E to G. And that would include HSA contributions, obviously, for these individuals, as noted.
So on the HSA, can you explain that?
Yes, I will try, yes. So if an employee takes a high deductible plan, so in this instance, the principals can have either an individual or family plan paid for them. That's 100%, and then they can get $1,200 donated to their HSA like teachers currently. This update would move that $1,200 to $3,250 per single or $6,500 per family. Those are the major changes, other than the PTO days. Principals still have their contracts listed as 12 sick and 4 personal, which was the old teacher contract. This would shift over to the 13 PTO days, the same as teachers have.
Okay, so currently on the HSA, they get $1,200.
Correct.
And so then that is regardless of whether it's single or family?
Correct. No, that's family. I'm sorry, that's family is 1,200.
So what if they pick single? What are they getting?
600.
Okay.
Half. Sorry.
And what's their salary differences or day contract difference?
So it's $1,200 more from the prior contract,
And then,
plus the HSA difference.
okay, and then their days are the same?
Days are the same.
Why would a person pick single if they had a family? If we're gonna pay it?
There are some reasons why you might, when it comes to, trying to figure out how to pick my words here carefully.
Just seems like you're leaving 3,200 on the table.
If you've got, multiple parents involved, and multiple insurances involved, sometimes it's not worth the headache of dealing with that. I've seen that before, that it can
Some
be an
jobs
issue.
also have that requirement, not to interrupt you, but some jobs, if your husband can get the insurance at his job, they won't, you have to pay a substantial amount for your spouse.
Correct, but apparently we don't have that. Is that right?
You do not have a carve out either, if that's where you're going
The
to.
spouses might though.
Spouses, yes. So,
No, but the spouse's carve out is gonna be like, they wouldn't be able to add you. They could
Right
be
on their end, that's what I meant, yeah.
does that answer the questions?
Other questions? Is by chance there a motion?
I'd make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Nick has made a motion, Kim has seconded, all those in favor? 7-0.
I have
Non-certified,
a question. Sorry. At this time though, do you wanna add Kristen Bonomo to this list?
She wasn't on there originally,
Yeah,
but
but-
she should be because she is still the
You
principal.
have it,
Yeah.
sort of, it's just not,
Actually, her current contract will run through June.
yeah, you just had
I
the
can
salary
update her
part
next
was,
month.
okay,
Yeah,
to be
let's just,
determined.
yeah, we could
Time.
update her next month
There's time.
regardless.
I just wanna make sure that,
Yeah.
That won't affect her negatively anyway, right, since she's still under for the prior contract.
No, she will be making significantly less as a Park Heritage Connect administrator.
right,
So she'd actually benefit from being on for the next month or so.
Or she's on for the next year.
Well, that's what I'm saying, like,
Yeah.
it wouldn't have a negative effect till her contract actually expires.
Okay, non-certified high school athletic director.
Okay, as a separate line item, I'm recommending an update in salary and benefits for the non-certified athletic director position. This information is also included in your packet. E to G, I just use the same page, I think it's on page E, if you wanna look at that. Our athletic director, and I know we've talked through this, just like any position over the years, our AD is down around the 8th lowest out of about 190 schools that I looked at as far as pay is concerned. And I feel like he does a lot better job than that. I respect the hard work that he's put in, and I felt like we needed to, or I needed to, make some sort of recommendation that he would get a raise to make up for that. His current is, as I said, about the 8th lowest of 190 schools I looked at. My recommendation would be for him to move up to 70,561, and then there would be similar benefits on the administrative front. Now, if you want, that's where it's at right now. So you've got the pages there in front of you. You can ask whatever questions you may have.
So again, what's the increase of his salary?
So he is at 55,561 right now. Looked at a lot of neighboring schools. It's lower than, I don't ever want us to be the lowest paying in any category. That one's getting close.
So you're looking at a $15,000 raise for the athletic director position?
Yes.
Does his days change?
His days would stay the same. 217 days. Like any administrator, those days are burned through a lot sooner than the 217th.
And the only duty he would have is the athletic director duty?
Currently, the way that
You looked at the budget that we have, you determined that we could afford this, correct?
yeah, and I did, and that's kind of like where I'll come back to the Connect Academy for a second too. I understand that's another administrator. I get that. We are in a solid financial position for now, right? I say for now because SEA 1 is coming, and as students go to charters and we start to lose some of those dollars in all likelihood, we're trying to build in additional support so that we can be ready for the next year. I've said many times in teachers' meetings, I don't have any desire to cut any teachers, well, ever for that matter, but I sure don't wanna, we're not gonna cut somebody this year, that's not in the cards. But if we don't address some things and try to backfill and get more students and have more opportunity, and athletics also plays into that. We get a lot of attention out of successful athletics, and like it or not, that's the world that we're in, and we get a lot of positive attention that way. So that's where I'm coming from with a lot of these suggestions. Yes, there's more cost. Yes, we can afford it. I wanna take care of the people that we have. So that's why I'm making these recommendations.
So would this be a 2-year contract like the other ones then,
So-
or how's that function?
That would still be non-certified,
Oh, okay,
just
alright.
like our director of maintenance or operations
Okay.
or your food services, they're all non-cert.
Got it, alright.
So, but you called him an administrator,
He is under,
non-certified,
he's under uncertified, yes, but he's not technically administrator.
okay,
Yeah, no, you're
You
not
said- you
technically,
just
you
said
can't
that.
be without the license really,
right,
So,
that's
sorry
the
if I said
difference, and that to me is the difference in
the wording.
knowing the salary.
Because he doesn't have a college degree.
No, because he's not an administrator, but why are we considering him an administrator when we're looking at comparing him?
Or I guess are they considered administrators at other schools?
It depends on how they're hired and what they have.
Yeah, cause I have some facts and figures from other schools. And Dr. Schimpf had sent out some stuff, and I'm sure you guys all looked at it, but North Vermilion's athletic director makes $83,796. North Montgomery's athletic director makes $112,223. South Montgomery's athletic director makes $108,741. Fountain Central's athletic director makes $88,472. Seeger's athletic director makes $86,119. Covington's athletic director makes $81,811. Now, I do not know if those athletic directors do any other jobs or duties. The athletic director that was listed for Rockville in 2016 made $79,243. Now, I do believe he might have had some other job duties. I'm not 100% sure.
And how many days do they work?
I have no idea. The list that was sent out by Dr. Schimpf included 166 schools. The bottom 6 didn't have a salary on it. North Central Parks was 152, let's say 159. Looking at other schools in the same size as us, the ADM, which I highlighted here, we are significantly below a lot of these schools. South Main School Corporation, their athletic director makes $81,000. Now they have their ADM's $1469. They're a little bit bigger than us. When you're looking at these other schools, I think it's important to take care of our employees, not lose them.
But
And
on
if
that
they've proven
information-
themselves, then I think it's important to show them that we want to keep good employees and support them from doing well. He's been making can't remember what Dr. Schimpf said, $55,000. It's been a steal for a corporation to have someone doing the athletic director position at that dollar amount, and I see no reason why not to give him this raise.
How long's he been here?
10 years, I think.
Was he at Rockville before that, or?
He came in. He came in 17.
You said we're in the bottom 10?
But you don't have any facts on comparables as to their job duties or how many days they work?
But out of the whole state, we're in the bottom 10.
Out of that survey that I had, yeah. That's right. Not everybody responded to that survey, not all schools did.
No, I don't have the information for the 166 schools. I don't know what their job duties are. Southwest Park, $83,829.
We waiting on,
for 30 years.
are we waiting on a motion then,
They
or
have.
what are we doing?
Do you know if they have other job duties?
I feel like this is a significant raise for a non-certified staff member. And I don't feel like this looks very good to our teachers or our staff that do a job for us on a daily basis and perform their jobs just the same as Mr. Shelsky does. At this time, I'd move to table this until we could have further discussion.
I'd make a motion to vote on this as
Hold on,
presented.
hold on. Should you give them motion on the table? Is there a second?
I'll second it. I think that I don't disagree, he deserves a raise. But I think this is a discussion and like the questions were, can we afford it as a corporation? None of us really.
Which Dr. Schimpf did answer.
Correct. We haven't had that put in front of us. Maybe that is okay for you, but I wanna see some numbers. And if this is what you're going to give him, then what does that mean we're going to give Lisa Reitzman? Can we afford that?
Didn't we just give Lisa Reitzman something?
$1,200.
$1,200.
Right, but I mean, we, so she's getting 89, I guess is the answer, right?
So we're gonna give him comparatively to the 1,200.
We're gonna give him comparatively what other athletic directors are making, and it's still gonna be less.
Other athletic directors,
So,
but we don't know what
Out
their
of the
job
hundred and
responsibilities are.
sixty, out of the 160, which I have the figures, 166 schools, if he's at 70,561, we will then jump up to 142 out of 166 that was in this listed.
If it's on this topic and it doesn't breach some sort of personnel deal, then
I don't know the athletic director personally in any way, but as a teacher in this corporation, some of those large numbers that were mentioned by the board a moment ago. In some of those neighboring corporations, those athletic directors do have an admin degree, a master's degree in education. So I think that is, in my opinion, a considerable amount of money to give a non-certified staff member that does not hold a bachelor's or master's degree, from my understanding, if you're saying non-certified. So I just would like to.
I have a degree in communications and it is worthless. Like, growing up in high school, I believe we were pounded into our heads that we needed to go to college. And you had to go to college and then you could make money. If I didn't do what I did after college, I don't know what I'd be doing. I'd probably be a salesman or something. I think there's something to put on experience. And Mr. Shelsky has done this job for 8, 9, 10 years, as someone had said, and he's gained the experience. The experience needed to be paid like an athletic director at similar schools. So I do appreciate the comment though.
I guess I had a question. So if we had to hire a new one, the anticipation would be we'd hire an admin one with the degree?
It's likely that you would find somebody with an admin license, but maybe you can find somebody without. That's happened already.
Yeah.
So you don't, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. When I was an AD, I had my license already.
I have a question. What are their job roles? Like, what does their day-to-day look like? Do they just make sure like coaches are on track, or like do they actually have set job duties, that sort of thing, to warrant this raise, I guess?
So some of the data, like today, I know, for example, because I met with Rich briefly this afternoon after he was lining the ball fields. I was asking him about weather, checking the radar, you name it. Are the officials there for games tonight? Do we have the transportation lined up? All those kinds of things. There's a ton to, the AD position is not, it's not the easiest one in the corporation, I guess. I don't know what one is the easiest one in the corporation, to be honest with you. It is a very busy time, and weather can impact you, officials impact you. Doing better in athletics impacts you. So if you have good coaches that coach teams well and they go far into the postseason, you just got to work an extra 20 hours a week for the rest of the season, because that's what it's taking on top of your normal 40-hour week. It feels like it's a busy job. I don't know if I'm giving you enough clear info on it or not, but it's demanding, certainly.
Kind of a comment. Back when I was in school, I know it's been a long time ago, but the AD at Turkey Run taught at least a couple classes and did the AD job and coached basketball. So, I mean, I took that a lot on your plate. It's
a lot. Yeah, and that's, our middle school AD does that right now. He takes on extra duties. He fills in the dean role. He teaches advanced PE. He supervises after school activities. So we do have a model for that as well. And yes, the job descriptions don't exactly look the same. So good point. Yeah, good point. Thanks.
And I like Rich. I don't want him to go anywhere. But I don't like the way this was done. I don't like the speed at which it happened. I don't like the time pressure that was put on us. I certainly don't like voting for huge raises for administrators when we just voted down an administrator that's gonna try to bring us money. So it's totally two separate sides of the coin here. Nothing against Mr. Shelsky or anything here, but I would just like more time to talk about it.
So we have a motion on the
We have a
floor.
motion, we have a second. Is there any other discussion on that motion?
I think more time to talk about it's just gonna be a waste of time. I mean, we have the figures here, we have the numbers. Dr. Schimpf is the superintendent here. It just feels like we're micromanaging what Dr. Schimpf is trying to do. We have very important other things to to discuss. I think Connect Academy wasn't discussed enough yet. And that's something we need to talk about. And here we are, we have a list of 100 and some odd schools. I think the average, which you hate to even mention the average salary because there were some huge schools on this list, but it was like 90 some thousand, $95,000. This is literally getting him to not quite the bottom anymore. And let's say if we were at 99%, we'd be at 90% to the bottom. So that's why I think it needs to be voted on, and we just need to get
But
this
I
done.
do think you gotta realize we are a small community, we're not Avon, we're not Indy.
Right, I said that.
Schools, yeah, we are on the bottom. because we are
other-
smaller.
I just think it needs to be voted on and it either votes up, votes down, and we move on our way. And I mean, to me, having more time to talk about means let's just not vote on it.
I mean, we're planning on talking about the Connect Academy more, so I'm not sure what the difference is.
Well, how about if we're tabling it, why don't we set a special session then to vote on those two things?
It really seemed like the Connect Academy, which I think everyone wants to do, it just seems like that's a lot. And to talk about it, I don't see the issue to talk about the Connect.
Actually, I'm extremely pro Connect Academy. I think that's a genius idea. I like it, but.
Nonetheless, we have a motion and a second to table this. Is there any other discussions on tabling, on that motion that's on the floor? If there is no more discussion, all those in favor of tabling it, raise your hand. 4, all those opposed. 3. Motion passes, that is tabled. So, we will move on to, that's it for miscellaneous business. So we will go to superintendent's report, summer school.
Yeah, summer school's set to run May 26th through the 29th. It's just 4 days. We have to get some testing done, get through some requirements, so May 26th to 29th. This is the first regular session since we've had a state championship in boys basketball. Want to recognize that. It's a big deal. Fantastic for the kids, community, everybody involved.
Can we have them to our meeting to congratulate them?
Absolutely. Yeah. I wanted to also mention, teaching position wise, just to kind of get on your radar there, that we're gonna need to post for a life skills position probably, and that'll be coming out soon, so don't anybody be surprised about that. I've already talked with the other superintendents, the co-op. There needs to be some more help over at Turkey Run Elementary, and so we've got to get that posted. Just don't want you to be surprised as that happens. We may be filling vacated positions. We've got a leave, some resignations, those sorts of things those are gonna start popping up, and I just kind of want you to be aware that as those pop up, it's part of the normal order of business, but sometimes when something comes across there, it's easy to wonder, why are we posting for this or that? Well, because we think we need it, and the need has changed. Somebody was teaching, they were teaching basket weaving, and we no longer value that as much maybe, and we want to instead do something else. And so we replaced with a different position and be posted. Let's see. That'll probably go on, that happens until probably September in a typical year. Finally, I had, in my notes here, I'd said I anticipate some sort of online teaching positions, but that right now is clearly on hold, and we need more discussion with that, and that's fine. Obviously, we do the right thing there. Last point on my report was in regard to transportation. Wanted to let you know that we're gonna open up dialogue with drivers. We've got April 21st, I'm gonna have a drivers meeting, gonna have the principals there. We're just gonna kind of get together and have a little bit of an agenda and listen. And I wanna start doing, at least for a period of time, probably doing a once a month meeting with them. And just, if they can't make it, okay, I know a lot of them have other jobs and we appreciate that, but I'll try to work times around so that they can come in, and we need to get an opportunity for them to be able to talk to administrators, because administrators and bus drivers don't always have the time to talk to each other. So I wanted you to know about that. That's April 21st. That's it for my report.
Any questions for Dr. Shemp on his report?
I need to, it's not on the report directly, but graduation date. It's gonna be at 11 o'clock on this, that Saturday before Memorial Day, or
I
what's?
can't tell you off the top of my head, I'm sorry, Elise, I can't tell you off the top of my head if it's the Saturday before like it always is it 11 or 10? I can't tell you. Jane? What time? 11.
I thought that was the case, but I didn't wanna come May 20th and you're going, oh, in 3 days we need.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Dr. Shemp on his report? Okay, we'll move on to comments from the public. Would anybody like to speak? I'll trust that you signed up.
I promise it's not controversial. 8th grade promotion night is the same night as your next board meeting, which will already, but that's a lot of cross traffic.
I think we probably should be able to
Move our meeting.
move our meeting out of your way.
Location.
Or location, or move the meeting, or
What time does that, Brian, what time does that start?
6.
6, okay.
Can we just move it up a week or back a week?
Can we just move it to the high school?
Line of kids up in here.
Can we just move it to the high school?
I'm sorry.
Can we move it to the high school? Or
As
move
long
it-
as it's open, I don't know if it's open that night.
anybody's gonna attend the graduation?
Would have thought it would have worked around.
Nick, do you have an 8th grader who's graduating?
No, I just, it seemed
Okay.
like I'm fine that night, me, yeah. It's not a me thing.
I don't have an 8th grader.
Let's coming
When
in.
would you like to meet?
Let's just change the location then.
Change the location. Okay, to be determined.
Can we just go to the Rockville cafeteria? Does that work?
Actually, I may have lied to you. I won't be able to be there that night. But it's not because of graduation. So as long as you have a quorum, that's,
If we go to the Rockville cafeteria for the meeting, then you can walk and see all of what's going on there.
It's either that, or we could move it to Thursday,
Could be one,
or we could move it to Thursday, and
whatever you guys prefer.
Thursday'd be great. I could be there then.
let's just move it to Thursday, then if anybody,
Can we still have it at Rockville cafeteria so we can walk that space?
Sure.
yes, we can.
It'd be at 6.
Thank you, Bree.
90% of the heating was supposed to work.
Yeah.
There you go.
So double thing.
May 21st at 6 then?
May 21st, 6 o'clock at the Rockville High School
Make sure the
cafeteria.
Air conditioning works this time.
Isn't he
Are
talking
we
about the
going
grade
to the,
school?
do you wanna go to the,
Elementary,
Yeah,
Rockville
so we
Elementary.
can walk.
Elementary.
Rockville
They
Elementary?
had 90% of their cooling working at the end of the day
I was gonna
today.
say, cause the last time
That's
we
all
were
right.
there.
We'll bring our
So we'll be okay. We can be hot.
6 o'clock. Okay, yep. So was there any, that actually came in comments from the public. So are there any other comments from the public? If there are not, that is closed. We'll move on to the next date, which we just discussed. May 21st, 6 p.m., Rockville Elementary Cafeteria. And if there's nothing else, we are adjourned. Thank you all for coming.
We have our
Yeah, executive session.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure that